Hello everyone. We messed up a little bit. Streaming equipment is really annoying. Without further ado, let us begin this long and arduous journey. Acid Splash. Conjuration cantrip. You hurl a bubble of acid. Choose one creature within range or choose two creatures within range that are within 5 feet of each other. A target must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or take 1d6 acid damage. The spell's damage increases by 1d6 when you reach 5th level, 11th level, and 17th level. Aid, 2nd level cantrip. Abjuration. Your spell bolsters your allies with toughness and resolve. Choose up to 3 creatures within range. Each target's hit point maximum and current hit points increase by 5 for the duration. At higher levels, when you cast this spell using a spell slot of 3rd level or higher, a target's hit points increase by an additional 5 for each slot above 2nd. Alarm, 1st level abjuration ritual. You set an alarm against unwanted intrusion. Choose a door, a window, or an area within range that is no larger than a 20-foot cube. Until the spell ends, an alarm alerts you whenever a tiny or larger creature touches or enters the warded area. When you cast the spell, you designate creatures that won't set off the alarm. You also choose whether the alarm is mental or audible. A mental alarm alerts you with a ping in your mind if you are within 1 mile of the warded area. This ping awakens if you are sleeping. An audible alarm produces the sound of a handbell for 10 seconds within 60 feet. Alter Self, 2nd level Transmutation. You assume a different form. When you cast the spell, choose one of the following options, the effects of which last for the duration of the spell. While the spell lasts, you can end one option as an action to gain the benefits of a different one. Aquatic Adaptation. You adapt your body to an aquatic environment, spreading gills and growing webbing between your fingers. You can breathe underwater and gain a swimming speed equal to your walking speed. Change Appearance. You transform your appearance. You decide what you look like, including your height, weight, facial features, sound of your voice, hair, length, coloration, and distinguishing characteristics. If any, you can make yourself appear as a member of another race, though none of your statistics change. You also can't appear as a creature of different size than you. Your basic shape stays the same if you're bipedal. You can't use the spell to become quadrupedal. For instance, at any time for the duration of the spell, you can use your action to change your appearance in this way again. Natural weapons. You grow claws, fangs, spines, horns, and different natural weapons of your choice. Your unarmed strikes deal 1d6 bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage, as appropriate to the natural weapon you chose. And you're proficient with the unarmed strikes. Finally, the natural weapon is magic, and you have a +1 bonus to the attack and damage rolls you make using it. Animal Friendship, 1st level enchantment. This spell lets you convince a beast that you mean it no harm. Choose a beast that you can see within range. It must see and hear you. If the beast's intelligence is 4 or higher, the spell fails. Otherwise, the beast must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be charmed by you for the spell's duration. If you or one of your companions harms the target, the spell ends. At higher levels, when you cast the spell using a spell slot 2nd level or higher, you can affect 1 additional beast for each slot level above first. Animal Messenger, 2nd level enchantment. Ritual. By the means of this spell, you use an animal to deliver a message. Choose a tiny beast that you can see within range, such as a squirrel, a blue jay, a bat. You specify a location which you must have visited. And recipient matches a general description, such as a man or woman dressed in the uniform of a town guard, or a red-haired dwarf wearing a pointed hat. You also speak a message up to 25 words. The target beast travels for the duration of the spell towards the specified location, covering about 50 miles per 24 hours for a flying messenger or 25 miles for other animals. When the messenger arrives, it delivers your message by the creature that you described, replicating the sound of your voice. The messenger speaks only to a creature matching the description you gave. If the messenger doesn't reach its destination before the spell ends, the message is lost and the beast makes its way back to where you cast the spell. At higher levels, you can cast the spell using a spell slot of 3rd level or higher. This is 3rd level or higher. The duration of the spell increases by 48 hours for each slot level above 2nd. Animal Shapes, 8th level Transmutation. Your magic turns others into beasts. Choose any number of willing creatures that you can see within range. You transform each target into the form of a large or smaller beast with a challenge rating of 4 or lower. On subsequent turns, you can use your action to transform affected creatures into new forms. The transformation lasts for the duration of each target or until the target drops to 0 hit points or dies. You can choose a different form for each target. A target's game statistics are replaced by the statistics of the chosen beast, though the target retains its alignment and intelligence, wisdom, and charisma scores. The target assumes consumes the hit points of its new form, and when it reverts to its natural form, it returns to the number of hit points that it had before it transformed. If it reverts as a result of dropping to 0 hit points, any excess damage carries over into its normal form. As long as the excess damage doesn't reduce the creature's normal form to 0 hit points, it isn't knocked unconscious. The creature is limited in the actions it can perform by the nature of its new form, and it can't speak or cast spells. The target's gear melds into the new form. The target can't activate, wield, or otherwise benefit from any of its equipment. Animate Dead, 3rd level Necromancy. This spell creates an undead servant. Choose a pile of bones or a corpse or a medium or small humanoid within range. Your spell imbues the target with a foul mimicry of life, raising it as an undead creature. The target becomes a skeleton if you choose bones, or a zombie if you choose a corpse. The DM has the creature's game statistics. Each of your turns, you can use a bonus action to mentally command any creature you made with this spell if the creature is within 60 feet of you. If you control multiple creatures, you can command any or all of them at the same time, issuing the same command to each one. You decide what action the creature will take and where it will move during its next turn. Or you can issue a general command, such as to guard a particular chamber or corridor. If you issue no commands, the creature only defends against hostile creatures. Once given an order, the creature continues to follow it until the task is complete. The creature is under your control for 24 hours, after which it stops obeying any command you've given it. To maintain control of the creature for another 24 hours, you must cast this spell on the creature again before the 24-hour period ends. This use of the spell reasserts your control over up to 4 creatures you have animated with the spell, rather than animating a new one. At higher levels, when you cast a spell using a spell slot of 4th or higher, you animate or reassert control over 2 additional undead creatures for the slot above 3rd. Each of the creatures must come from a different corpse or pile of bones. Animate objects, 5th level Transmutation. Objects come to life at your command. Choose up to 10 non-magical objects within range that are not being worn or carried. Medium targets count as 2 objects. Large targets count as 4 objects. 2 huge objects count as 8 objects. You can't animate any object larger than huge. Any target animates and becomes a creature under your control until the spell ends or reduced to 0 hit points. As a bonus action, you can mentally command any creature you made with this spell if the creature is within 500 feet of you. If you control multiple creatures, you command any or all of them at the same time, issuing the same command to each one. You decide what action the creature will take and where it will move during its next turn. You can issue a general command, such as to guard a particular chamber or corridor. If you issue no commands, the creature only defends itself against hostile creatures. Once given an order, the creature continues to follow until its task is complete. An animated object is a construct with an AC, hit points, attack, strength, dexterity determined by its size. Each constitution is 10, its intelligence, wisdom are 3, and its charisma is 1, its speed is 30 feet. If the object lacks legs or other appendages it can use for locomotion, it instead has a flying speed of 30 feet and can hover. If the object is securely attached to a surface or a larger object, such as a chain bolted to a wall, its speed is 0. It has blind sight with a radius of 30 feet and is blind beyond that distance. When the animated object drops to 0 hit points, it reverts to the original object form, and any remaining damage carries over to its original object form. If you command an object to attack, it can make the single melee attack against a creature within 5 feet of it. It makes a slam attack with an attack bonus and bludgeoning damage determined by its size. The DM might rule that a specific object inflicts slashing or piercing damage based on its form. Anti-life shell, 5th level Abjuration. A shimmering barrier extends out from you in a 10-foot radius and moves with you, remaining centered on you and hedging out creatures other than undead and constructs. The barrier lasts for the duration. The barrier prevents an affected creature from passing or reaching through. An affected creature can cast spells or make attacks with ranged or reach weapons through the barrier. If you move so on the affected creature is forced to pass through the barrier, the spell ends. Anti-magic field, 8th level Abjuration. A 10-foot radius invisible sphere of anti-magic surrounds you. This area is divorced from the magical energy that suffuses the multiverse. Within the sphere, spells can't be cast, summoned creatures disappear, or even magic items become mundane. Until the spell ends, the sphere moves with you, centered on you. Spells and other magical effects, except those created by an artifact or a deity, are suppressed in the sphere and can't protrude into it. A slot expended to cast a suppressed spell is consumed. While an effect is suppressed, it doesn't function, but the time it spends to suppress counts against its duration. Areas of magic. The area of another spell or magical effect, such as a fireball, can't extend into the sphere. If the sphere overlaps into an area of magic, the part of the area is covered by the sphere is suppressed. For example, the flames created by a wall of fire are suppressed within the sphere, creating a gap in the wall if the overlap is large enough. Spells. Any active spell or magical effect while on a creature, the object sphere is suppressed while a creature's object is in it. Magic items. The properties of the magic items don't work. Magic travel. Magical travel doesn't work. Creatures and objects. They can't be magical. Dispel magic. It dispels magic. Antipathy/sympathy. 8th level enchantment. Your spell attracts or repels creatures of your choice. You target something within range, either a huge or smaller object or creature or an area that is no larger than a 200-foot cube, then specify any kind of intelligent creature such as red dragons, goblins, or vampires. You invest the target with an aura that either attracts or repels specific creatures for the duration. Choose antipathy or sympathy in the aura's effect. Antipathy. The enchantment causes creatures of the kind you designate to feel the intense urge to leave the area and avoid the target. With such a creature can see the target or comes within 60 feet of it, the creature must succeed a wisdom saving throw or become frightened. The creature remains frightened while it can see the target or is within 60 feet of it. While frightened by the target, the creature can use its movement to move to the nearest safe spot from which it can't see the target. If the creature moves more than 60 feet from the target and can't see it, the creature is no longer frightened, but the creature becomes frightened again if it regains sight of the target or moves within 60 feet of it. Sympathy. The enchantment causes the specific creature to feel an intense urge to approach the target within 60 feet of it or be able to see it. When such a creature can see the target and becomes within 60 feet of it, the creature must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or use its movement on each of its turns to enter the area or move within the reach of the target. When the creature has done so, it can't willingly move away from the target. If the creature damages or otherwise harms the affected creature can make a wisdom saving throw, and then the effect is described below. Ending the effect. If an affected creature ends its turn while not within 60 feet of the target or able to see it, the creature can make a wisdom saving throw. On a successful save, the creature is no longer affected by the target and recognizes the feeling of repugnance or attraction as magical. In addition, a creature affected by the spell is allowed another wisdom saving throw every 24 hours while the spell persists. A creature that successfully saves against the effect is immune for 1 minute, after which it can be affected again. Arcane Eye, 4th level Divination. You create an invisible magical eye within range that hovers in the air for the duration. You mentally receive visual information from the eye, which has normal vision and dark vision out to 30 feet. The eye can look in every direction. As an action, you can move the eye up to 30 feet in any direction. There is no limit how far away you can... There is no limit how far away from you the eye can move. But it can't enter another plane of existence. A solid barrier blocks the eye's movement, but the eye can pass through an opening as small as 1 inch in diameter. Arcane Gate, 6th level Conjuration. You create linked teleportation portals that remain open for the duration. Choose 2 points on the ground that you can see, 1 point within 10 feet of you and 1 point within 500 feet of you. A circular portal 10 feet in diameter opens over each point. If the portal would open in the space occupied by a creature, the spell fails and the casting is lost. The portals are 2-dimensional glowing rings filled with mist hovering inches above the ground and perpendicular to it at the points you choose. A ring visible only from one side, your choice, which is the side and functions as a portal. Any creature or object entering the portal exits from the other portal as if two were adjacent to each other. Passing through a portal from the non-portal side has no effect. The mist that fills each portal is opaque and blocks vision through it. On your turn, you can rotate the rings as a bonus action so that the active side faces in different direction. Arcane Walk, 2nd level Abjuration. You touch a closed door, window, gate, or chest, or other entryway. It becomes locked for the duration. You and the creatures you designate when you cast this spell can open the object normally. You can also set a password that which spoken within 5 feet of the object suppresses the spell for 1 minute. Otherwise, it is impassable until broken, or the spell is dispelled or suppressed. Casting Knock on the object suppresses the Arcane Lock for 10 minutes. While affected by the spell, the object is more difficult to force or break open. The DC to break it or pick any locks increases by 10. Armor of Agathis, 1st level Abjuration. A protective magical force surrounds you, manifesting as a spectral frost that covers you and your gear. You gain 5 temporary hit points for the duration. If a creature hits you with a melee attack while you have these hit points, the creature takes 5 cold damage. Arms of Heydar, 1st level Conjuration. You invoke the power of Heydar, the Dark Hunger. Tendrils of dark energy erupt around you and batter all creatures within 10 feet of you. Each creature in that area must make a strength saving throw. On a failed save, a target takes 2d6 necrotic damage and can't take reactions until its next turn. On a successful save, the creature takes half damage but suffers no other effect. When you cast a spell using a spell slot of 2nd level or higher, the damage increases by 1d6 for each spell slot above the first. Oh, Jesus. Astral Projection, 9th level Necromancy. You and other weak 8 willing creatures within range project your astral bodies into the astral plane. The spell fails if the casting is wasted. You already are on that plane. The material body you leave behind is unconscious in a state of suspended animation. It doesn't need food or air and doesn't age. Your astral body resembles your mortal form in almost every way, replicating your game statistics and possessions. The principal difference is the addition of a silvery cord that extends between your shoulder and blades and trails behind you, fading to invisibility after 1 foot. This cord is your tether to your material body. As long as your tether remains intact, you can find your way home. If the cord is cut, something can happen only when an effect specifically states that it does. Your soul and body are separated, killing you instantly. Your astral form can freely travel through the astral plane and pass through portals leading to another plane. If you enter a new plane or return to the plane that you were on when casting the spell, your body and possessions are transported along with the silver cord along for you to re-enter your body in the new plane. Your astral form is a separate incarnation. Any damage or other effects that apply to it have no effect on your physical body, nor do they persist when you return to it. The spell ends for you and your companions when you use your action to dismiss it. When the spell ends, the affected creature returns to its physical body and it awakens. The spell might also end early for you or one of your companions. A successful Dispel Magic used against an astral or physical body ends the spell for that creature. If the creature's original body or the astral form drops to 0 hit points, the spell ends for that creature. If the spell ends and the silvery cord is intact, the cord pulls the creature the astral form back to its body, ending its state of suppressed animation. If you return to your body prematurely, your companions remain in their astral forms and must find their own way back to their bodies, usually by dropping to 0 hit points. Augury, 2nd level divination. Ritual. By casting gem-inlaid sticks, rolling dragon bones, laying out ornate cards, or employing some other divination tool, you receive an omen from another worldly entity about the results of a specific course of action that you plan to take within 30 minutes. The DM may choose from the following possible omens. Wheel for good results. Woe for bad results. Wheel and woe for both good and bad results. Nothing for the results are especially good or bad. The spell doesn't take into account any possible circumstances that might change the outcome, such as the casting or additional spells or loss or gain of a companion. If you cast a spell 2 or more times before completing your next long rest, there's a cumulative 25% chance that each casting, after the first time that you get a random reading, the DM makes this roll in secret. Aura of Life, 4th level Abjuration. Life-preserving energy radiates from you in an aura with a 30-foot radius. Until the spell ends, the aura moves with you, centered on you. Each non-hostile creature in the area, including you, has resistance to necrotic damage, and its hit point maximum can't be reduced. In addition, a non-hostile living creature regains 1 hit point when it starts its turn within the aura within 0 hit points. Aura of Purity, 4th level Abjuration. Purifying energy radiates from you in an aura with a 30-foot radius. Until the spell ends, the aura moves with you, centered on you. Each non-hostile creature in the area, including you, can't become diseased. You have resistance to poison damage and advantage on saving throws against the effects that cause any of these following conditions: blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, paralyzed, poisoned, or stunned. Aura of Vitality, 3rd level Evocation. Healing energy radiates from you in an aura with a 30-foot radius. Until the spell ends, the aura moves with you, centered on you, and you can use a bonus action to cause one creature, including you in the area, to regain 2d6 hit points. Awaken, 5th level Transmutation. After spending the casting time tracing magical pathways between precious gemstone, you touch a huge or smaller beast or plant. The target must have either no intelligence score or an intelligence of 3 or less. The target gains an intelligence of 10. The target also gains the ability to speak one language you know. If the target is a plant, it gains the ability to move its limbs, roots, vines, creepers, and so forth. If it gains senses similar to humans. Your DM chooses statistics for the awakened plant, such as the statistics for awakened shrub or awakened tree. The awakened beast or plant is charmed by you for 30 days until you or your companion do anything harmful to it. When the charmed condition ends, the awakened creature chooses whether to remain friendly to you based on how you treated it when it was charmed. Bane, 1st level enchantment. Up to 3 creatures of your choice you can see within range must make a charisma saving throw. Whenever a target that fails this saving throw makes an attack roll or saving throw before the spell ends, the target must roll a d4 and subtract the number rolled from the attack roll from the attack roll or saving throw. Banishing Smite, 5th level Abjuration. The next time you hit a creature with a weapon attack before the spell ends, your weapon crackles with force and the attack deals an extra 5d10 force damage to the target. Additionally, if this attack reduces the target to 50 hit points or fewer, you banish it. If the target is native to a different plane or existence than the one you're on, the target disappears, returning to its home plane. If the target is native to the plane you're on, the creature vanishes into a harmless demi-plane. While there, the target is incapacitated and remains there until the spell ends, at which point the target reappears in space left in the nearest unoccupied space until the space ends. Banishment, 4th level Abjuration. You attempt to send a creature that you can see within range to another plane of existence. The target must succeed on a charisma saving throw or be banished. If the target is native to the plane of existence you're on, you banish the target to a harmless demi-plane. While there, the target is incapacitated. The target remains there until the spell ends, at which point the target reappears in the same space it left or in the nearest unoccupied space, or if that space is occupied. If the target is native on a different plane of existence than the one you're on, the target is banished in a faint popping noise, returning to its home plane. If the spell ends 1 minute before it passed, the target reappears in the space it left or in the nearest unoccupied space if that space is occupied, otherwise the target doesn't return. Bark Skin. You touch a willing creature. Until the spell ends, the target's skin has rough bark-like appearance, and with the target's AC can't be less than 16, regardless of what kind of armor it's wearing. Beacon of Hope, 3rd level abjuration. This spell bestows hope and vitality. Choose any number of creatures within range for the duration. Each target has advantage on wisdom saving throws and death saving throws, and regains maximum number of hit points possible from any healing. Beast Sense. You touch a willing beast. For the duration of the spell, you can use your action to see through the beast's eyes and hear what it hears, and continue to do so. You use your action to return to your normal senses. While perceiving through the beast's senses, you gain the benefits of any special senses possessed by that creature, though you are blinded and deafened to your own surroundings. Bestow Curse. You touch a creature, and that creature must succeed a wisdom saving throw or be cursed for the duration of the spell. When you cast a spell, choose the nature of the curse from which the following options. Choose one ability score. While cursed, the target has disadvantage on ability checks and saving throws with that ability score. While cursed, the target has disadvantage on rolls against you. While cursed, the target is making a wisdom saving throw at the start of each turn. If he fails, wastes his action during the turn doing nothing. While the target is cursed, your attacks and spells deal 1d8 necrotic damage to the target. A remove curse spell ends the effect as the DM's option, but you can choose an alternative curse effect, but it could be no more than powerful than described above. The DM has the final say on the curse's effects. Bigby's Hand, 5th level evocation. You create a large hand of shimmering, translucent force in an unoccupied space that you can see within range. The hand lasts for the spell's duration and it moves on your command, mimicking the movements of your own hand. The hand is an object that has an AC 20 and hit points equal to hit point maximum. If it drops 0 hit points, the spell ends. It has strength 26 plus 8 and a dexterity of 10 plus 0. The hand doesn't fill its space when you cast the spell. And as a bonus action on your subsequent turns, you can move the hand up to 60 feet and then cause one of the following effects on it. Oh! Clenched Fist, Forceful Hand, Grasping Hand, Interposing Hand, Blade Barrier, 6th level evocation. You create a vertical wall of whirling, razor-sharp blades made of magical energy. The wall appears within range and lasts for the duration. You can make a straight wall up to 100 feet long, 20 feet high, and 5 feet thick, or a ranged wall up to 60 feet in diameter, 20 feet high, or 5 feet thick. The wall provides 3/4 cover to creatures behind it, but the space is difficult terrain. When a creature enters the wall's area for the first time on a turn, it starts to turn there, the creature must make a dexterity saving throw on a failed save. The creature takes 6d10 slashing damage on a successful save. The creature takes half as much damage. Blade, Ward, Abjuration, Cantrip. You extend your hand and trace a sigil of warding in the air. Until the end of your next turn, you have resistance against bludgeoning, piercing, success damage dealt by weapon attacks. Bless. 1st level enchantment. You bless up to 3 creatures of your choice within range. Whenever a target makes an attack roll or saving throw before the spell ends, the target can roll a d4 and add the number rolled to an attack roll or saving throw. Blight, 4th level necromancy. Necromantic energy washes over a creature of your choice that you can see within range, draining moisture and vitality from it. The target makes a constitution saving throw. The target takes 8d8 necrotic damage on a failed save, or is half as much damage on a successful one. The spell has no effect on undeads or constructs. If you target a plant creature or a magical plant, it makes a saving throw with disadvantage and the spell deals maximum damage to it. If you target a non-magical plant that isn't a creature such as a tree or shrub, it doesn't make a saving throw, it simply withers and dies. Blinding Smite, 3rd level evocation. The next time you hit a creature with a melee weapon attack during the spell's duration, your weapon flares with bright light and the attack deals an extra 3d8 radiant damage to the target. Additionally, the target must succeed a constitution saving throw or be blind until the spell ends. A creature blinded by this spell makes another constitution saving throw at the end of each turn. Successful save, it is no longer blinded. Blindness/deafness, 2nd level necromancy. You can blind or deafen a foe. Choose one creature that you can see within range. Make a constitution saving throw. If it fails, the target is blinded or deafened. Your choice for the duration. At the end of each turn, the target can make a constitution saving throw. On success, the spell ends. Blink, 3rd level transmutation. Roll a d20 at the end of each of your turns for the duration of the spell. On a roll of 11 or higher, you vanish from the current plane of existence and appear in an on the ethereal plane. The spell fails and the casting is wasted if you're already on that plane. At the start of your next turn, when the spell ends, and if you were on the ethereal plane, you return to an unoccupied space of your choice that you can see within 10 feet of the space you vanished from. If no unoccupied space is available within range, you appear with the nearest occupied space. Choose it randomly. You can dismiss this spell as an action on the ethereal plane. You can see and hear the plane that you originated from, which is cast in shades of gray, and you can't see anything from more than 60 feet away. You can only affect and be affected by other creatures of the ethereal plane. Creatures that aren't there can't perceive you or interact with you unless they have the ability to do so. Blur. Second level illusion. Your body becomes blurred, shifting and waving to all those who can see you. For the duration, any creature has disadvantage on attack rolls against you. An attacker is immune to this effect if it doesn't rely on sight and with blind sight, and if you can see through illusions as with true sight. Branding Smite. Branding Smite. The next time you hit a creature with a weapon attack before the spell ends, the weapon gleams with astral radiance as you strike. The attack deals an extra 2d6 radiant damage to the target, which becomes visible if it isn't invisible. And the target sheds dim light in a 5-foot radius and can't be invisible until the spell ends. Burning Hands. As you hold your hands with thumbs touching your fingers, spread a thin sheet of flames shoot forward from your outstretched fingertips, and each creature in a 15-foot cone must make a dexterity saving throw. A creature takes 3d6 fire damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. The fire ignites any flammable objects in the area that aren't being worn or carried. Call Lightning. A storm cloud appears in the shape of a cylinder that is 10 feet tall and a 60-foot radius, centered to a point you can see 100 feet directly above you. The spell fails if you can't see a point in the air where the storm cloud could appear. For example, if you're in a room that can't be accommodated for the cloud. When you cast the spell, choose a point you can see within range. A bolt of lightning flashes down from the cloud to the point. Each creature within 5 feet of the point makes a dexterity saving throw. A creature takes 3d10 lightning damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. On each of your turns until the spell ends, you can use your action to call down lightning in this way again, targeting the same point or a different one. If you are indoors in stormy conditions, when you cast a spell, the spell gives you control over an existing storm instead of creating a new one. Under such conditions, the spell damage increases by 1d10. Calm Emotions. Calm Emotions. Second level enchantment. You attempt to suppress strong emotions in the group of people. Each humanoid in a 20-foot radius sphere centered on a point you choose within range must make a charisma saving throw. A creature can choose to fail this saving throw if it wishes. If a creature fails its saving throw, choose one of the following 2 effects. You can suppress any effect causing a creature to be charmed or frightened. When the spell ends, any suppressed effect resumes, providing that its duration has not expired in the meantime. Alternatively, you can make a target indifferent about the creatures of your choice that is hostile towards. This indifference ends when the target is attacked or harmed by a spell or if witnessed any of its friends being harmed. When the spell ends, the creature becomes hostile again, unless the DM rules otherwise. Chain Lightning, 6th level evocation. You create a bolt of lightning that arcs towards a target of your choice that you can see within range. 3 bolts, then leap from the target as many as 3 other targets, each of which must be within 30 feet of the first target. A target can be a creature or an object that can be targeted only by one of the bolts. A target must make a dexterity saving throw. The target takes 10d8 lightning damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. Charm Person, 1st level enchantment. You attempt to charm a humanoid that you can see within range. It must make a wisdom saving throw and does so with advantage if you or companions are fighting it. If it fails the saving throw, it is charmed by you until the spell ends or until your companions do anything harmful to it. The charmed creature regards you as a friendly acquaintance. When the spell ends, the creature knows it was charmed by you. Chill Touch, Necromancy cantrip. You create a ghostly skeletal hand in the space of a creature within range. Make a ranged spell attack against a creature to assail it with the Chill of the Grave. On a hit, the target takes 1d8 necrotic damage, and it can't regain hit points until the start of your next turn. Until then, the hand clings to the target. If you hit an undead creature, it also has disadvantage on the attack rolls against you, and until the end of your turn. The spell's damage increases by 1d8 when you reach 5th level, 11th level, and 17th level. Chromatic Orb, 1st level evocation. You hurl a 4-inch diameter sphere of energy at a creature that you can see within range. You choose acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison, or thunder for the type of orb you create, and then make a ranged spell attack against the target. If the attack hits, the creature takes 3d8 damage of the type you choose. Circle of Death, 6th level necromancy. A sphere of negative energy ripples out in a 60-foot radius sphere from a point within range. Each creature in the area must make a Constitution saving throw. A target takes 8d6 necrotic damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. Circle of Power, 5th level abjuration. Divine energy radiates from you, distorting and diffusing magical energy within 30 feet of you. Until the spell ends, the sphere moves with you, centered on you. For the duration, each friendly creature in the area, including you, has advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. Additionally, when an affected creature succeeds on a saving throw made against a spell or magical effect that allows you to make its saving throw only take half damage, instead takes no damage, succeeds on the saving throw. Clairvoyance, 3rd level divination. You create an invisible sensor within range in a location familiar to you, a place you have visited or seen before, or in an obvious location that is unfamiliar to you, such as behind a door, around a corner, in a grove of trees. The sensor remains in place for the duration and can't be attacked or otherwise interacted with. When you cast a spell, you choose seeing or hearing. You can use one of the chosen sensors if you're in that space. As your action, you can switch between seeing and hearing. A creature that can see the sensor, such as a creature benefiting from seeing visibility or true sight, gains the luminous intangible orb as the size of your fist. Clone, 8th level necromancy. The spell grows The spell grows an inert duplicate of a living creature as a safeguard against death. This clone forms inside a sealed vessel and grows to the full size maturity after 120 days. You can also choose to have the clone be a younger version of the same creature. It remains inert and endures indefinitely as long as the vessel remains undisturbed. At any time before the clone matures, if the original creature dies, its soul transforms to the clone, providing that the soul is free and willing to return. The clone is physically identical to the original and has some of the personalities, memories, and abilities, but none of the original equipment. The original creature's physical remains, and if they still exist, they become inert and thereafter can be restored to life, since the soul's creatures is elsewhere. Cloud of Daggers. You fill the air with spinning daggers in a cube 5 feet from each side, centered on a point you choose within range. A creature takes 4d4 slashing damage when it enters the spell's area on the first time on a turn or starts its turn there. Cloud Kill, 5th level, Conjuration. You create a 20-foot sphere of poisonous yellow-green fog centered on a point you choose within range. The fog spreads around corners. It lasts for the duration until a strong wind disperses the fog, ending the spell. The area is heavily obscured. When a creature enters the spell's area for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there, the creature must make a Constitution saving throw. The creature takes 5d8 poison damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. The creatures are affected even if they hold their breath or don't need to breathe. The fog moves 10 feet away from you at the start of each of your turns, rolling along the surface of the ground. The vapors, being heavier than air, sink to the lowest level of the land, even pouring down openings. Color Spray, 1st level illusion. A dazzling array of flashing colored lights springs from your hand. Roll 60-10. The total is how many hit points of creatures the spell can affect. Creatures in a 15-foot cone originating from you are affected in an ascending order of their current hit points, ignoring unconscious creatures and creatures they cannot see. Starting with the creature that has the lowest current hit points, each creature affected by the spell is blind until the spell ends. Subtracts each creature's hit points from the total, moving on to the creature with the next lowest hit points. The creature's hit points must be equal or less than the remaining total for the creature to be affected. Command, 1st level enchantment. You speak one word command to a creature you can see within range. The target must succeed a wisdom saving throw or follow the command on its next turn. The spell has no effect if the target is undead, if you don't understand the language, or if your command is directly harmful to it. Some typical commands and their effects follow. You might issue a command other than the one described here. If you do, the DM just determines how the target behaves. The target that can't follow your commands, the spell ends. Approach, drop, flee, grovel, halt. Commune, 5th level divination. You contact your deity or divine proxy to ask 3 questions that it can answer with a yes or no. You must ask your questions before the spell ends. You receive a correct answer for each question. Divine beings are necessarily omniscient, but you might receive an unclear as an answer if a question pertains to an information that lies beyond the deity's knowledge. In case where a one-word answer could be misleading or contrary to the deity's interest, the DM might offer a short phrase as an answer instead. If you cast spells 2 or more times before finishing your next long rest, there's a cumulative 25% chance for each casting of each of the first that you get no answer. The DM makes this roll in secret. Commune with nature, 5th level divination. You briefly become one with nature and gain knowledge of the surrounding territory. In the outdoors, the spell gives you knowledge of the land within 3 miles of you, in caves or and other natural underground settings, if the radius is limited to 300 feet. The spell doesn't function where nature has been replaced by construction, such as dungeons and towns. You instantly gain knowledge up to 3 facts of your choice about any of the following subjects as they relate to the area. Terrain and bodies of water, prevalent plants, minerals, animals, or peoples, powerful celestials, fae, fiends, elementals, or undead, influence from other planes of existence, buildings. For example, you could determine the location of a powerful undead in the area, the location of major sources of safe drinking water, and the location of nearby towns. Compel duel, 1st level enchantment. You attempt to compel a creature into a duel. One creature that you see within range must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the creature is drawn to you, compelled by your divine demand. For the duration, it has disadvantage on attack rolls against creatures other than you, and must make a wisdom saving throw each time it attempts to move into a space that is more than 30 feet away from you. It succeeds on this saving throw. The spell doesn't restrict the target's movement for that turn. The spell ends if you attack any other creature. If you cast another spell that targets a hostile creature other than the target, if a creature friendly to you damages the target, cast a harmful spell on it, or if you end your turn more than 30 feet away from the target. Comprehend languages, 1st level divination. For the duration, you understand the literal meanings of any spoken languages that you hear. You also understand any written languages that you see, but you must be touching the surface on which the words are written. It takes about 1 minute to read 1 page of text. The spell doesn't decode secret messages and a text of a glyph, such as an arcane sigil, that isn't a part of a written language. Compulsion, 4th level enchantment. Creatures of your choice that you can see within range that can hear you must make a wisdom saving throw. A target automatically succeeds the saving throw if it can't be charmed. On a failed save, a target is affected by the spell until the spell ends. You can use a bonus action in each one of your turns to designate a direction that is horizontal to you. Each affected creature must use this as much as its movement as possible to move in that direction on its next turn, and it takes action before it moves. As moving away, it can make another wisdom saving throw to try and end. The affected target is compelled to move to it, obviously deadly hazard as a fire or pit, but it will provoke attacks and opportunities until its designated direction. Cone of Cold, 5th level evocation. A blast of cold air erupts from your hands. Each creature in a 60-foot cone must make a constitution saving throw. A creature takes 8d8 cold damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. A creature killed by this spell becomes a frozen statue until it thaws. Confusion, 4th level enchantment. The spell assaults and twists a creature's mind, spawning delusions of provoking uncontrolled action. Each creature in a 10-foot radius sphere centered on a point you choose within range must succeed on a wisdom saving throw when you cast a spell or be affected by it. An affected creature can't take reaction and must roll a d10 at the start of each of its turns to determine its behavior for that turn. Conjure Animals, 3rd level Conjuration. You summon fey spirits and take the form of beasts in an unoccupied space that you can see within range. Choose one of the following options for it appears. 1 beast challenge rating 2 or lower, 2 beasts challenge rating 1 or lower, 4 beasts challenge rating 1 half or lower, 8 beasts challenge rating 1/4 or lower. Each beast is also considered a fey until it disappears. When it drops 0 hit points and when the spell ends, summoned creatures are friendly to you until your companions roll initiative for the summoned creatures as a group until which has its own turns. They obey any verbal commands to them. No actions required by you. If you don't issue any commands to them, they defend themselves from hostile creatures, but otherwise take no actions. The DM has the creature statistics. Conjure Barrage, 3rd level Conjuration. You throw a non-magical weapon or fire a piece of non-magical intimidation into the air to create a cone of identical weapons that shoot forward and then disappear. Each creature in a 60-foot cone must succeed on a dexterity saving throw. A creature takes 3d8 damage on a failed save or half as much damage on a successful one. The creature is the same type as the weapon ammunition as used as a component. Conjure Celestial. 7th level Conjuration. You summon a Celestial challenge rating 4 or lower, which appears in an unoccupied space that you can see within range. The Celestial disappears when it drops to 0 hit points or when the spell ends. The Celestial is friendly to you and your companions for the duration. Roll initiative for the Celestial. When it has its own turns, it obeys any verbal commands that you issue to it. No action required by you as long as they don't violate its alignment. If you don't issue any commands to the Celestial, defends itself from hostile creatures but otherwise takes no actions. The DM has Celestial statistics. Conjure Elemental, 5th level Conjuration. You call forth an elemental servant. Choose an area of the air, earth, fire, or water that fills a 10-foot cube within range. An elemental or challenge rating 5 or lower appropriate to the area of which you choose appears in an unoccupied space within 10 feet of it. For example, a fire elemental emerges from a bonfire, and an earth elemental rises from the ground. The elemental disappears when it drops 0 hit points or when the spell ends. The elemental is friendly to you and your companions for the duration. Roll initiative for the elemental, which has its own turns. It obeys and verbal commands that you issue to it. If you don't issue any commands to the elemental, it defends itself from hostile creatures but otherwise takes no actions. If your concentration is broken, the elemental doesn't disappear. Instead, you lose control of the elemental. It becomes hostile towards you and your companions and might attack. An uncontrolled elemental can't be dismissed by you, and it appears 1 hour after you summon it. The DM has the elemental statistics. Cool. Conjure Fey, 6th level Conjuration. You summon a Fey creature of challenge rating 6 or lower, or a Fey spirit that takes the form of a beast challenge rating 6 or lower. It appears in an unoccupied space that you can see within range. The Fey disappears when it drops 0 hit points or when the spell ends. The Fey creature is friendly to you and your companions for the duration. Roll initiative for the creature. When it's had its own turns, it obeys any verbal commands that you issue to it as long as it doesn't violate its alignment. If you don't issue any commands to the Fey creature, it defends itself from the hostile creatures but otherwise takes no actions. If your concentration is broken, the Fey creature doesn't disappear. Instead, you lose some stuff that you issue to it. It defends itself from hostile creatures but otherwise takes no actions. If your concentration is broken, the Fey creature doesn't disappear. Instead, you lose control of the Fey creature. It becomes hostile towards you. Your companions that it might attack an uncontrolled Fey creature might be dismissed by you, and it disappears 1 after you summoned it. Conjure Minor Elementals. You summon elementals that appear in an unoccupied space that you can see within range. You choose one of the following options of which it appears. 2 elementals challenge rating 2 or lower, 2 elementals challenge rating 1 or lower, 4 elementals challenge rating half or lower, 8 elementals challenge rating 1/4 or lower. An elemental summoned by the spell disappears and drops 0 hit points when the spell ends. The summoned creatures are friendly to you and your companions. Roll initiative for the summoned creatures as a group, which has its own turns. They obey verbal commands that you issue to them. If you don't issue any commands to them, they defend themselves from hostile creatures. Otherwise, take no actions. The DM has creature statistics. Conjure Volley, 5th level Conjuration. Ha 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 ha. Conjure Volley, 5th level Conjuration. You fire a piece of non-magical ammunition from a ranged weapon or throw a non-magical weapon into the air and choose a point within range. Hundreds of duplicates from the ammunition or weapons fall in a volley from above and then disappear. Each creature in a 40-foot radius, 20-foot high cylinder centered on the point makes a dexterity saving throw. A creature takes 88 damage on a failed save or half as much as damage on a successful one. The creature's the damage type is the same as the ammunition or weapon. Conjure Woodland Beings, 4th level Conjuration. You summon fey creatures that appear in a non-upgraded space that you can see within range. Choose one of the following options where they appears. One fey creature of challenge rating 2 or lower, 2 fey creatures of challenge rating 1 or lower, 4 fey creatures of challenge rating 1/2 or lower, 8 fey creatures of challenge rating 1/4 or lower. So, a summoned creature disappears when it drops 0 hit points or when the spell ends. The summoned creatures are friendly to you and companions. Roll initiative for the summoned creatures as a group, which they have their own turns. They obey any verbal commands that you issue to them. No action required by you, and if you don't issue any commands, I thought of a meme. They defend themselves from hostile creatures, but otherwise take no actions. The DM has the creature statistics. Contact other planes, 5th level divination. You mentally contact a demigod, the spirit of a long-dead sage, or some other mysterious entity from another plane. Contacting this extraplanar intelligence, the strain can strain or even break your mind. While you cast this spell, make a DC 15 intelligence saving throw. On a failure, you gain 66 psychic damage and are insane until you finish a long rest. While insane, you can't take actions, can't understand or what other creatures say, can't read or only speak in gibberish. A creator restoration spell casts on you until it ends this effect. On a successful save, you can ask the entity up to 5 questions. You must ask your question before the spell ends. The DM answers each question with one word, such as yes, no, maybe, never, irrelevant, or unclear. If a one-word answer would be misleading, the DM might instead offer a short phrase as an answer. Contagion, 5th level Necromancy. Your touch inflicts disease. Make a melee spell attack against a creature within range. On a hit, you afflict the creature with a disease of your choice from any of the ones described below. At the end of each target's turn, it must make a Constitution saving throw. After failing 3 of these saving throws, the disease effects last the duration, and the creature stops making these saves. After succeeding on 3 of these saving throws, the creature recovers from the disease, and the spell ends. Since this spell is a natural disease and its target, any effect that removes the disease or otherwise ameliorates a disease effects applied to it. Blinding sickness, filth fever, flesh rot, mind fire, seizure, slimy doom. The creature begins to bleed uncontrollably. The creature has disadvantage on Constitution checks and Constitution saving throws. In addition, when the creature takes damage, it is stunned until the next turn. Contingency, 6th level Evocation. Choose a spell 5th level or lower that you can cast. That has a casting time of 1 action that you can target. You cast a spell called the contingent spell as part of the casting contingency. Expanding spells slots for both. The contingent spell doesn't come into effect. Instead, it takes effect when a certain circumstance occurs. You describe the circumstance in which the causes 2 spells. For example, a contingency cast with water breathing might stipulate what the hell? That water breathing comes into effect when you are engulfed with water or similar liquid. The contingent spell takes effect immediately after circumstances met for the first time, whether or not you want it to. The contingency ends. The contingency takes effect only on you, even if it normally target. What the fuck? You can only use the contingency spell at a time. If you cast this spell, the effect of another contingency spell also ends. Also, the contingency ends on you if the material components are ever not in your person. God. Continual Flame, 2nd level Evocation. A flame equivalent in brightness to a torch springs forth from an object that you touch. The effect looks like a regular flame, but it creates no heat or doesn't use oxygen. A continual flame can be covered or hidden, but not smothered or quenched. Control Water, 4th level Transmutation. Control Water, 4th level Transmutation. Until the spell ends, you control any freestanding water inside the area that you choose. It's a queue up to 100 feet on one side. You can choose from any of the following effects in which you cast a spell. As an action on your turn, you can repeat the same effect to choose a different one. Flood. Part Water. Redirect Flow. Whirlpool. 2 of those are from the Bible. Control Weather. 8th level Transmutation. You take control of the weather within 5 miles of the duration. You must be outdoors to cast this spell. Moving to a place where you don't have a clear path to the sky ends the spell early. When you cast a spell, you change the current weather conditions, which are determined by the DM based on climates and season. You can change precipitation, temperature, and wind. It takes 1d4 times 10 minutes for the new conditions to take effect. Once they do so, you can change the conditions again. When the spell ends, the weather gradually returns to normal. When you change the weather conditions, find a current condition on the following table. Change the stage up by 1 or down. Up or down. When changing the wind, you can change its direction. No, I'm not reading that. Cordon of Arrows. 2nd level transmutation. You plant 4 pieces of non-magical ammunition, arrows, crossbow bolts in the ground with enrage and lay magic on to protect the area until the spell ends. Whenever a creature other than you comes within 30 feet of the ammunition for the first time in turn, ends turn that 1 piece of ammunition flies out, strike it. The creature must succeed on dexterity throw, take 1d6 piercing damage, piece of ammunition is destroyed, and the spell ends and the ammunition remains. When you cast a spell, you designate any creature within the spell ignores some counter spell, 3rd level abjuration. You attempt to interrupt a creature in the process of casting a spell. If the creature is casting a spell at the 3rd level or lower spell phase, and it has no effect. If the casting of a spell at 4th level or higher makes an ability check using your spell casting ability. The DC equals 10 plus the spell's level. On a success, the creature spell and has no effect. Create food or water. For 3rd level conjuration, you create 45 pounds of food, 45 pounds of food, and 30 gallons of water on the ground or in containers within range enough to sustain up to 15 humanoids or 5 steeds for 24 hours. The food is bland but nourishing and spoils if uneaten after 24 hours. The water is clean and doesn't go bad. Yeah, but you put it on the floor though. Create or destroy water. You can either create or destroy water. 1st level transmutation. Create water, destroy water. Create undead. You can cast 6th level necromancy. You can cast a spell only at night. You choose up to 3 corpses of medium or small humanoids within range. Each corpse becomes a ghoul under your control. The DM has the game statistics for these creatures. As a bonus action on each of your turns, you can mentally command any creature you animated with the spell. The creature is 120 feet of you. If you control multiple creatures, you command them all. Issuing the same command to each one, you decide what creature will and where it will move during its next turn, and you can issue a general command such as to guard a particular chamber or corridor. If you issue no commands, the creature only defends itself against hostile creatures. Once given an order, the creature continues to follow its task until complete. The creature is under your control for 24 hours, at which it stops obeying any command you have given it. To maintain control of the creature for another 24 hours, you must cast a spell on a creature before the current 24-hour period ends. The use of the spell reasserts your control over the 3 creatures you have animated with the spell rather than animating new ones. Creation, 5th level illusion. You pull wisps of shadow material from the Shadowfell to create non-living objects of vegetable matter within range. Soft goods, rope, wood, or something similar. You can use the spell to create mineral objects such as stone, crystal, or metal. The object created must be no larger than a 5-foot cube, and the object must be a form of material that you've never seen before. The duration depends on the object material. If the object is composed of multiple materials, use the shortest duration. Using any material by this spell to create a spell of material component causes you the spell to fail. Crown of Madness. Crown of Madness. Crown of Madness. Crown of Madness. 2nd level enchantment. 1 humanoid. If you're a creature that you can see within range, must make succeed a wisdom saving throw while becoming charmed for you. The duration while the target is charmed in this way, a twisted crown of jagged iron appears upon its head, and madness glows in its eyes. The creature, the charmed target must use its action before moving on each of its turns to make a melee attack against a creature other than itself that you mentally choose. The target can act normally on its turn if you choose no creature or none within its reach. On your subsequent turns, you must use your action to maintain control over the creature or the spell ends. Also, the target can make a wisdom saving throw at the end of each of its turns. On a success, the spell ends. Crusaders Mantle. I haven't even heard of this spell. 3rd level evocation. Holy power radiates from you in an aura with the 30-foot radius, awakening boldness in friendly creatures. Until the spell ends, the aura moves with you, centered on you. While in the area, each non-high creature in the aura, including you, deals an extra 1d4, rating down when it hits a creature with a weapon attack. Cure wounds. 1st level evocation. Evocation? That's weird. A creature you touch regains a number of hit points equal to 1d8, your spellcasting ability modifier. This spell has no effect on undeads or constructs. Dancing Lights. Evocation cantrip. You create up to 4 torch-sized lights within range, making them appear on torches, lanterns, or glowing in orbs, and they hover in the air for the duration. You can also combine the 4 lights into one glowing, vaguely humanoid form or medium size, whichever form you choose. Each light sheds dim light into a 10-foot radius. As a bonus action on your turn, you can move the lights up to 60 feet away into a new spot within range. A light must be within 20 feet of another light created by the spell, and a light winks out if it exceeds the spell's range. Darkness, 2nd level evocation. Magical darkness spreads from a point you choose within range to fill up a 50-foot radius sphere for the duration. The darkness spreads around corners, and a creature with dark vision can't see through this darkness, and non-magical light can't illuminate it. If the point you choose is an object you are holding or one that can be worn or carried, the darkness emanates from the object or moves with it, completely covering the source of the darkness with an opaque object such as a bowl. You can put a bowl over it. Or a helm blocks the darkness. If the spell's area overlaps with an area of light created by the second, the light is dispelled. Dark vision, 2nd level transmutation. You touch a willing creature to grant the ability to see in the dark. For the duration, the creature has dark vision out to the range of 60 feet. That was the shortest spell. Daylight. 3rd level evocation. A 60-foot sphere of light spreads from a point you choose within range. The sphere is a bright light and sheds dim light for an additional 60 feet. If you choose a point or object you are holding or one that isn't being worn or carried, the light shines from the object and moves with it, completely covering the affected objects with an opaque object, such as a bowl or you just put a bowl over it. If any of the spell's areas overlap with an area of darkness created by the spell, 3rd level or lower, the spell that created the darkness is dispelled. Death Ward, 4th level abjuration. You touch a creature and granted the measure of protection of death. From death, the first time a target would drop to 0 hit points as a result of taking damage, the target instead drops to 1 hit point and the spell ends. If the spell is in effect when the target is subjected to an effect that would kill it instantaneously without dealing damage, the effect instead negated the target and the spell ends. Delayed Blast Fireball, 7th level evocation. Why? A beam of yellow flashes when your pointed finger condenses to a linger point within range of the glowing bead of your duration. When the spell ends, either because of your concentration or broken because you decide to end it, the bead blossoms with a low roar and an explosion of flame that spreads around corners. Each creature in a 20-foot radius sphere centered on the point must make a dexterity saving throw. A creature takes fire damage equal to the total accumulated damage in the field save, or half as much as the damage as the successful one. The spell's damage is 12d6 at the end of your turn. The bead is not yet detonated. The damage increases by 1d6. If the glowing bead is touched before the interval has expired, the creature touching it must make a dexterity saving throw on a failed save. The spell ends immediately, causing the bead to erupt in flame on a successful save. The creature can throw the bead up to 40 feet. When it strikes the creature or a solid object, spell ends. The bead explodes. Fire damage objects areas and ignites flammable objects that aren't being worn or carried. Demiplane, 8th level Conjuration. You create a shadowy door on a flat, solid surface that you can see within range. The door is large enough to allow medium creatures to pass through unhindered. When opened, the door leads to a demiplane that appears to be a room 30 feet in dimension, made of wood or stone. When the spell ends, the door disappears, and any creatures inside the demiplane remain trapped there. As the door disappears from the other side, each time you cast this spell, you can create a new demiplane, or have the shadowy door connect to a demiplane you created with the previous casting of the spell. Additionally, if you know the nature or context of the demiplane created by the casting of the spell by another creature, you can have the shadowy door connect this demiplane instead. Destructive Wave, 5th level evocation. You strike the ground, creating a burst of divine energy ripples out from you. Each creature you choose within 30 feet must succeed a Constitution saving throw or take 5d6 standard damage, as well as 5d6 radiant or necrotic damage. Your choice to be knocked prone. The creature that succeeds on a saving throw takes as much damage as it is not prone. Detect evil and good. 1st level Divination. For the duration, you know that there is an aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, or fiend, or undead within 30 feet of you, as well as where the creature is located. Similarly, you know if there is a place or object within 30 feet of you that has been magically consecrated, desecrated, the spell can penetrate most barriers, but is blocked by 1 foot of stone, winch, common metal, thin sheet of lead, or sheet of lead. It's like an X-ray. Or 3 feet of wood or dirt. Detect magic. First level divination ritual. You, for the duration, you sense the presence of magic within 30 feet of you. If you sense magic in this way, you can use your action to see the faint aura around any visible creature or object in the area that bears magic, and you learn its school of magic, if any. The spell can penetrate most barriers, but it is blocked by 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, and a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood or dirt. There's so much. Detect poison and disease. For first level divination. For the duration, you can sense the presence and location of poison creatures and diseases within 30 feet of you. Also identify that kind of poisonous creatures or disease in each case. The spell can penetrate most barriers, but it is blocked by 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, and a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood or dirt. Is lead even in D&D? Is there any lead in there? Detect thoughts. Second level divination. Oh, it's only one page. There's a big old picture here. Ah, it's so long! For the duration, you can read the thoughts of a certain creature when you cast a spell as your action on each turn until the spell ends. You can focus your mind to any one creature you can see within 30 feet of you. If the creature that you choose has an intelligence 3 or lower that doesn't speak any languages of the creatures that affected you initially, learn the surface thoughts of the creature, which is most unintertwined and in that moment. As an action, you can either shift your attention to another creature to attempt to probe deeper into the same creature's mind. If you probe deeper, and the target must make a wisdom saving throw. If it fails, you gain insight into reasoning of its emotional state and on something that looms over lots in its mind, such as something that worries over, loves, or hates. If it succeeds, the spell ends. Eyes away. The target knows that you are probing into its mind. And unless you shift your attention to another creature's thoughts, the creature can use its action to turn to make its intelligence check consisted by intelligence. Wait, what? The creature can use its action on its turn to make an intelligence check contested by your intelligence check. If it succeeds, the spell ends. Questions verbally directed to the creature naturally shape the course of its thoughts. So this spell is particularly effective as a part of its interrogation. You can use its spell to detect the presence of thinking creatures you can't see when you cast a spell, or as an action during the duration, you can search for thoughts within 30 feet of you. The spell can penetrate barriers 2 feet of rock, 2 inches of any metal other than lead, or a thin sheet of lead blocks that Still with the lead. You can't detect a creature with intelligence of 3 or lower, or one that doesn't speak any language. Once you detect the presence of a creature in this way, you can read its thoughts for the rest of the duration as described below. Even if you can't see it, it must still be within range. Ooh, that was a big one. Dimension door. My hands are sweaty. Dimension door, 4th level Conjuration. You teleport yourself from a current location to any spot within range. You arrive exactly on the spot desired, and it can be a place you see, or one that you can visualize, or one you can describe by stating distance and direction, such as You can bring along objects such as long as their weight doesn't exceed what you carry. You can also bring one willing creature of your size or smaller who is carrying gear up to his carrying capacity. This creature must be within 5 feet of you or within cast of the spell if you would arrive in a place that is already occupied by an object or a creature. You and any creature traveling to you can take 4d6 force damage. The spell fails to teleport you. Disguise self. First level illusion. You make yourself, including your clothing, armor, weapons, and other belongings on your person, look different until a spell ends or until you use your action to dismiss it. You can seem 1 foot shorter or taller and can appear thin, fat, or in between. You can't change your body type, so you must adopt a form that has some basic arrangement of limbs. Otherwise, the extent of the illusion is up to you. The changes wrought by the spell fail to hold up to physical inspection. For example, if you use a spell to add a hat to your outfit, objects pass through the hat, and anyone who touches it would feel nothing or would feel your head and hair. If you use a spell to appear thinner than you are, the hand of someone who reaches out to touch you would bump into you because you're a fat fucking piece of shit. To discern that you are disguised, a creature can use its action to expect your appearance and must succeed on intelligence investigation check against your spell save DC. Disintegrate, 6th level transmutation. A thin green ray springs from the pointed finger of a target that you can see within range. The target must be a creature, object, or a creation of magical force, such as a wall created by a wall of force. The creature targeted by the spell must make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, the target takes 10d6 plus 40 force damage. If this damage reduces the target to 0 hit points, it is disintegrated. A disintegrated creature... A disintegrated creature and everything it is wearing and carrying except magic items are reduced to a pile of fine gray dust. The creature can be restored to life only by means of true resurrection or a wish spell. This automatically disintegrates a large or smaller non-magical object or creation of non-magical force. If the target is a huge or large object or creation of force, the spell disintegrates a 10-foot cube portion of it. A magical item is unaffected by this spell. I don't feel so good. Dispel Evil and Good, 5th level Abjuration. Shimmering energy surrounds... Wait, I didn't skip a page, right? I really wish I did. Shimmering energy and protects you from Fey, Fiend, and undead creatures originating from beyond material plane for the duration Celestial Mantle. Fey, Fiends, and undead at disadvantage on attacking rolls against you. You can end the spell early by using either of the following functions. Break Enchantment, Dismissal. Dispel Magic. Choose one creature, object, or magical effect within range. Any spell of 3rd level or lower on the target ends. For each ability of 4th level or higher on the target, make an ability check using your spellcasting ability. The DC equals 10 plus the spell's level. On a successful check, the spell ends. Dissonant Whispers. You whisper a discordant melody that only one creature of your choice within range can hear, racking it with terrible pain. The target must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, it takes 3d6 psychic damage and must immediately use its reaction, if available, to move as far as its speed allows away from you. The creature doesn't move, obviously, into dangerous ground, such as a fire or a pit. On a successful save, the target has half as much damage and doesn't move away. A deafened creature automatically succeeds this save. A Divination, 4th level Divination. What? Your magic and an offering put you in contact with a god or God's servants. You ask a single question concerning a specific goal, event, or activity to recall within 7 days. The DM offers a truthful reply. The reply might be a short phrase, cryptic rhyme, or an omen. The spell doesn't take into account any possible circumstances that might change the outcome, such as casting an additional spell, the loss or gain of a companion. If you cast a spell 2 or more times before finishing the next long rest, a cumulative 25% chance each casting time for the first time you get a random reading. The DM makes this roll in secret. Divine Favor, 1st level Evocation. Your prayer empowers you with the Divine Radiance. Until the spell ends, your weapon attack deals an extra 1d4 radiant damage on a hit. Divine Word. You utter Divine Word, imbued with the power that shaped the Word into the dawn of creation. Wow. Choose any number of creatures that you can see within range. Each creature that you can hear must make a charisma saving throw. On a failed save, the creature suffers an effect based on the current hit points. 50 hit points or fewer, deafened for 1 minute. 40 points or hit points or fewer, deafened and blinded for 10 minutes. 30 hit points or fewer, blind, deafened, and stunned for 1 hour. 20 points or fewer, killed instantly. Regardless of the current hit points, a celestial and elemental Fey Fiend that fails its save is forced back to its plane of origin if it isn't there already, and can't return to your current plane for 24 hours by any means short of a wish spell. Dominate Beast, 4th level Enchantment. Why are these spells so long? You attempt to beguile a beast that you could see within range. It must succeed a wisdom saving throw or be charmed by you for the duration. If you or creatures that are friendly to you are fighting it, it has advantage on the saving throw. While the beast is charmed, you have a telepathic link you have a telepathic link with it as long as the two of you are on the same plane of existence. You can use this telepathic link to issue commands to the creature while you are conscious. No action required. It does not, which it does its best to obey. You can specify a simple generic course of action, such as attack that creature, run over there, fetch that object. Normal animals already do this. If the creature completes the order and doesn't receive further directions from you, it defends and preserves itself to the best of its ability. You can use your action to take the total and precise control of the target until the end of your next turn. The creature takes only the actions you choose and doesn't do anything that you don't allow it to. During this time, you can also cause a creature to to use a reaction, but this requires you to use your own reactions as well. Each time the target takes damage, it makes a new wisdom saving throw against the spell. If the spell succeeds, the spell ends. Dominate monster, 8th level enchantment. You attempt to beguile a creature that you could see within range. It must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be charmed by you for the duration. If you or creatures that are friendly to you are fighting it, it has advantage on saving throws. While the creature is charmed, you have the telepathic link with it as long as you two are on the same plane of existence. You use this telepathic link to issue commands to the creature while you are conscious. No action required, which it does its best to obey. You can specify a simple generic course of action, such as attack that creature, run over there, and fetch that object. Go fetch, beholder. If the creature completes this order and doesn't receive further direction from you, defends and preserves itself to the best of its abilities. You can use your action to take total and precise control of the target. Until the end of your next turn, the creature only takes the actions you choose and doesn't do anything that you don't allow it to. During this time, you can also cause the creature to use a reaction, but this requires you to use your own reaction as well. Each time the target takes damage, it makes a new wisdom saving throw against the spell. The spell succeeds, and the spell ends. Dominate person. Oh my lord. It's literally the same thing as the two I literally just read, except it's people. Dramage's instance... Dramage's instant summons. You touch an object weighing 10 pounds or less whose longest dimensions is 6 feet or less. Logan wouldn't count for this spell. The spell leaves an invisible mark on its surface, and invisibility inscribes the name of each item and sapphire you use the materials as a component. Each time you cast a spell, you must use a different sapphire. Anytime thereafter, you must use your action to speak the item's name and crush the sapphire. The item instantly disappears from your hand or physical planar distances, or the spell ends. Any other creature is holding or carrying the item. Crushing the sapphire doesn't transport them to you, but instead you learn who the creature possessing the object is and roughly where the creature is located at that moment. Dispel Magic or other similar effects successfully applied to the sapphire ends the spell's effect. Dream. This spell shapes a creature's dreams. Choose a creature known to you as the target of the spell. The target must be on the same plane of existence as you. Targets that don't sleep, such as elves, can't be connected by this spell. You or a willing creature you touch enters the trance state, acting as a messenger. While in the trance, the messenger is aware of his or her surroundings but can't take actions or move. If the target is asleep, the messenger appears in the target's dreams and can converse with the target as long as it remains asleep. Though the duration of this spell, the messenger can also shape the environment of the dream, creating landscapes, objects, and other images. The messenger can emerge from the trance at any time, ending the effect of the spell early. The target recalls the dream perfectly upon waking. If the target is awake when you cast a spell, the messenger knows it and can either end the trance or wait for the target to fall asleep, at which point the messenger appears in the target's dreams. You can make the messenger appear monstrous and terrifying to the target. If you do, the messenger can deliver a message of no more than 10 words, and then the target must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, echoes of the phantasmal monstrosity spawn a nightmare that lasts the duration of the target's sleep and prevent the target from gaining any benefit from the rest. In addition, when the target wakes up, it takes 3d6 psychic damage. If you have a body part, if you just got a body part lying around, lock of hair, clipping from a nail, or a similar portion of the target's body, the creature makes its saving throw at disadvantage. Druidcraft. Transmutation cantrip. Whispering to the spirits of nature, you create one of the following effects within range. You can create a fart, harmless sensory effect that predicts what the weather will be in your location for the next 24 hours. The effect might manifest as a golden orb for clear skies, a cloud for rain, falling snowflakes for snow, and so on. The effect persists for 1 round. You instantly make a flower blossom, a seed pod open, or a leaf bud bloom. You create an instantaneous harmless sensory effect, such as falling leaves, a puff of wind, the sound of a small animal, or the faint odor of a skunk. You can make a fart. The effect must fit in a 5-foot cube. You instantly light or snuff out a candle, a torch, or a small campfire. Oh my god, I hate this spell. Earthquake, 8th level evocation. You create a seismic disturbance from a point on the ground you can see within range. For the duration, an intense tremor rips from the ground of a 100-foot radius centered at the point in which 6 creatures in contact with It shakes the ground. The ground in the area becomes difficult terrain. Each creature on the ground that is concentrating must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, the creature's concentration is broken. When you cast a spell at the end of each turn, you spend concentrating on it. Each creature on the ground in the area must make a Dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, the creature's knocked prone. The spell can have additional effects depending on the terrain in the area as determined by the DM. Fissures, Structures, Eldritch Blast, Evocation Cantrip. A beam of crackling energy streaks towards a creature within range. Make a ranged spell attack against a target. On a hit, the target takes 1d10 force damage. The spell creates more than one beam, which you via higher levels. 2 beams at 5th level, 3 beams 11th, and 4 beams at 17th level. You can direct the beams at a same target or different ones. Make a separate attack for each beam. Elemental Weapon, 3rd level Transmutation. A non-magical weapon you touch becomes a magic weapon. Choose one of the following damage types. Acid, Cold, Fire, Lightning, or Thunder. From the duration, the weapon has a +1 bonus to attack. Whoa, hey, this is cool. Deals an extra 1d4 damage of the chosen type when it hits. Enhanced abilities, 2nd level Transmutation. You touch a creature, bestow upon it magical enchantments. Choose one of the following effects. The target gains the effect until the spell ends. Bear's Endurance, Bull Strength, Cat's Grace, Eagle Splendor, Fox Cunning, Owl's Wisdom. Enlarge, reduce. You cause a creature or an object that you can see within range to grow larger or smaller for the duration. Choose either a creature or an object that is neither worn nor carried. If the target is unwilling, it makes a Constitution saving throw on a success. Spell ends and has no effect if the target is a creature. Everything it is wearing and carrying changes with it. Any item dropped by an infected creature returns to a normal size at once. Enlarge or reduce. You make something big, you make something small. Ensnaring Strike. 1st level Conjuration. The next time you hit a creature with a weapon attack before the spell ends, a writhing mass of thorny vines appear on the point of impact, and the target must succeed on a strength saving throw or be restrained by the magical vines until the spell ends. A large or larger creature has advantage on the saving throw. If the target succeeds on the save, the vines shrivel away. While restrained by the spell, the target does 1d6 piercing damage to the start of each next of its turns. A creature is restrained by the vines, or one that can touch a creature can use its action to make a strength check against your spell. Save DC on a success, the target is freed. Entangle, 1st level Conjuration. Grasping weeds and vines sprout from the ground in a 20-foot square starting from the point within range. Ooh. For the duration, these plants turn the ground in the area into difficult terrain. A creature in the area, when you cast a spell, must succeed on a strength saving throw or be restrained by the entangling plants until the spell ends. A creature restrained by the plants can use its actions to make a strength check against your spell save DC. On a success, it frees itself. When the spell ends, the conjured plants wilt away. Enthrall, 2nd level Enchantment. You weave a distracting string of words, causing a creature of your choice that you can see within range to hear you make a wisdom saving throw. Any creature that can't be charmed succeeds on the saving throw automatically, and if you or your companions are fighting a creature, it has advantage on the save. On a failed save, the target has disadvantage on wisdom perception checks made to perceive any of the creatures that you until the spell ends or until you can target and no longer hear you. The spell ends if you are incapacitated and can no longer speak. Etherealness, 7th level Transmutation. You step into the border regions of the ethereal plane and the area where it overlaps with the current plane. You remain in the border ethereal for the duration or until you use your action to dismiss the spell. You can see and hear the plane you originated from, but everything there looks gray, and you can see anything more than 60 feet away. While on the ethereal plane, you can only affect and be affected by other creatures on that plane. Creatures that aren't on the ethereal plane can't perceive you and can't interact with you until a special ability or magic has given them the ability to do so. You ignore all objects and effects that aren't on the ethereal plane, allowing you to move through objects you perceive on the plane you originated from. When the spell ends, you immediately return to the plane you originated from in the spot that you currently occupy. If you occupy the same spot as a solid object or creature, when this happens, you are immediately shunted to the nearest shunted that you can occupy and take force damage equal to twice the number of feet you remove. The spell has no effect when you aren't on the ethereal plane or a plane that doesn't border it, such as one of the outer planes. Evard's Black Tentacles, 4th level Conjuration. Squirming ebony tentacles fill a 20-foot square. Why are there 2 tentacle spells? On a ground that you can see within range. For the duration, these tentacles turn the ground into an area of difficult terrain. When a creature enters the affected area for the first time, On a turn or starts its turn there, the effect must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or take 3d6 bludgeoning damage and be restrained by the tentacles until the spell ends. A creature that starts its turn in the area and is already restrained by the tentacles takes 3d6 bludgeoning damage. A creature restrained by the tentacles can use its action to make a strength or dexterity throw its choice against your spell save DC. On a success, it frees itself. Expeditious retreat. This spell allows you to move at an incredible pace. When you cast a spell, and then as a bonus action each of your turns until the spell ends, you can take the dash action. Eye Bite, 6th level Necromancy. For the spell's duration, your eyes become an inky void imbued with dread power. One creature of your choice within 60 feet of you that you can see must succeed on wisdom saving throw or be affected by one of the following effects of your choice. On each of your turns the spell ends, you can use your action to target another creature, but can't target another creature saves if he has succeeded on an effect against the casting of Eye Bite. If the asleep, panic, sickened, fabricate, 4th level Transmutation. You convert raw materials into products of the same material. For example, you can fabricate a wooden bridge from a clump of trees, a rope from a patch of hemp, a patch of hemp, and clothes from flax or wool. Choose raw materials that you can see within range. You can fabricate a large or smaller object contained within 10-foot cubes or 8 connected 5-foot cubes. Given a sufficient quantity of raw material, you are working with heat, metal, stone, or another mineral substance. However, the fabricated object can be no larger than medium contained with a single 5-foot cube. The quality of objects made in the spell is commensurate with the quality of the raw materials. Creatures or magic items can't be crafted or transmuted by the spell. You also can't use it to create items that are ordinarily required a high degree of craftsmanship, such as jewelry, weapons, glass, or armor, unless you have proficiency with that type of artisan's tools used to craft such objects. Fairy Fire, 1st level evocation. Each object in a 20-foot cube within range is outlined in blue, green, or violet light, your choice. Any creature in the area when the spell is cast is also outlined in light. If it fails dexterity saving throw over the duration, objects in affected creature shed the light into a 10-foot radius. Any attack rolls against an affected creature or object have advantage if the attacker can see it. If the affected creature or object can't benefit from being invisible. False Life. This is the shortest spell. False Life. Bolstering yourself with necromantic facsimile of life. You gain 1d4 plus 4 temporary hit points for the duration. Fear. 3rd level illusion. You project a phantasmal image of a creature's worst fears. Each creature in a 30-foot cone must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or drop whatever it is holding and become frightened for the duration. While frightened by the spell, a creature must take the dash action or move away from you the safest available round on each of its turns unless there is nowhere to move. If the creature ends its turn in a location when it doesn't have line of sight on you, the creature can make a wisdom saving throw. On a successful save, the spell ends for the creature. Featherfall, 1st level Transmutation. Choose up to 5 falling creatures within range. A falling creature's rate slows to 60 feet per round until the spell ends. If the creature lands before the spell ends, it takes no falling damage and can land on its feet, and the spell ends for that duration. Feeble Mind, 8th level Enchantment. You blast the mind of a creature that you can see within range, attempting to shatter its intellect and personality. The target takes 4d6 psychic damage and must make an intelligence saving throw. On a failed save, the creature's intelligence and charisma score becomes 1. The creature can't cast spells, activate magic items, understand languages, or communicate in any intelligible way. The creature can, however, identify its friends, follow them, and protect them. At the end of each 30 days, the creature can repeat its saving throw against the spell, and it succeeds on its saving throw. The spell ends. The spell can also end by a greater restoration, heal, or wish. Rest in peace, Raishan. Feign Death, 3rd level Necromancy ritual. You touch a willing creature and put it into a cataleptic state that is indistinguishable from death. For the spell's duration, or until you use an action to touch the target and dismiss the spell, the target appears dead to all outward inspection and to spells used to determine the target's status. The target is blinded and incapacitated and speed drops to 0. The target has resistance to all damage except psychic damage. If the target is diseased or poisoned when you cast a spell, or becomes disease or poison while under the spell's effect, the disease and poison have no effect until the spell ends. Find Familiar. You gain the service of a familiar, a spirit that takes on an animal form you choose. Bat, crab, bat, cat, crab, frog, toad, hawk, lizard, octopus, owl, poisonous snake, fish, quipper, rat, raven, seahorse, spider, or weasel. Appearing in an unoccupied space within range, the familiar has the statistics of a chosen form, though it is a celestial, fey, or fiend, your choice instead of a beast. Your familiar acts independently of you, but it always obeys your commands in combat. It rolls its own initiative and acts on its own turns. A familiar can't attack, but it can take other actions as normal. When the familiar drops 0 hit points, it disappears, leaving behind no physical form. It reappears after you cast a spell again. When your familiar is within 100 feet of you, you can communicate with it telepathically. Additionally, as an action, you can see through your familiar's eyes and hear what it hears until the start of your next turn, gaining the benefits of any special senses that the familiar has. During its time, you are deaf and blind with regard to your own senses. As a action, you can temporarily dismiss your familiar. It disappears into a pocket dimension where it awaits your summons. Alternatively, you can dismiss it forever. As an action, while it temporarily dismissed, you can cause it to reappear in any unoccupied space within 30 feet of you. You can't have more than one familiar at a time. If you cast a spell where you already have a familiar, you can instead cause it to adopt a new form. Choose one of its forms of the above list. Your familiar transforms to the chosen creature. Finally, when you cast a spell within range of touch, your familiar can deliver the spell as if it had cast the spell. Your familiar must be within 100 feet of you, and it must use its reaction to deliver the spell when you cast it. If the spell requires an attack roll, use your attack modifier for this roll. Fine speed, 2nd level Conjuration. You summon a spirit that assumes the form of an unusually intelligent, strong, and loyal steed, creating a long-lasting bond with it. Appearing in an unoccupied space within range, the steed takes on a form that you choose: a warhorse, a pony, a camel, an elk, or a mastiff. Your DM might allow other animals to be summoned as steeds. The steed has the statistics of the chosen form, though it is a celestial fiend, your choice, instead of its normal type. Additionally, if your steed has an intelligence of 5 or less, an intelligence becomes a 6, and it gains the ability to understand one language of your choice that you can speak. Your steed serves you as a mount, both in combat and out. You have the indistinctive bond, which allows you to fight with a seamless unit. While mounted on your steed, you can make any spell cast that target your steed. When the steed drops 0 hit points, it disappears, leaving behind no physical form. You can attack or dismiss your steed at any time using action, causing it to disappear. In either case, casting the spell again summons the same steed, restoring it to its hit point maximum. While your steed is within 1 mile of you, you can communicate with it telepathically. You can't have more than one steed bonded by the spell at a time. As an action, you can release the steed from its bond at any time, causing it to disappear. Find the path. 6th level Divination. This spell allows you to find the shortest, most direct physical route to a specific location that you are familiar with on the same plane of existence. If you name a destination on another plane of existence, a destination that moves, such as a mobile fortress, or a destination that isn't specific, such as a green dragon's lair, the spell fails for the duration as long as you are on the same plane of existence as the duration. You know how far it is and what direction it lies while you are traveling there. Whenever you are presented with a choice of paths along the way, you automatically determine which path is the shortest and most direct route, but not necessarily the safest to the destination. Find traps. You sense a presence of any trap within range that is within line of sight. A trap for the purpose of this spell includes anything that would inflict a sudden or unexpected effect you consider harmful or undesirable, which was specifically intended as such by its creator. Thus, a spell would sense an area affected by an alarm spell, like Glyph of Warding, or a mechanical pit trap would not reveal the natural weakness in the floor, an unstable ceiling, or hidden sinkhole. This spell merely reveals a trap that is present. You don't learn the location of each trap, but you do learn the general nature of danger posed by the trap you sense. Finger of Death, 7th level Necromancy. You send a negative energy coursing through a creature that you can see within range, causing it searing pain. The target must make a Constitution saving throw. It takes 78 plus 30 necrotic damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. A humanoid killed by this spell rises at the start of your next turn as a zombie that is permanently under your command, following your verbal orders to the best of its ability. Fireball, 3rd level evocation. A bright streak flashes from your pointing figure to a point you choose within range that then blossoms to a low roar of explosion of flame. Each creature in a 20-foot radius sphere centered on a point must make a dexterity saving throw. A target takes 8d6. Holy freaking crap. Why? Damage on a failed save for half as much damage on a successful one. The fire spreads around corners. It ignites stuff. I'm checking my progress. Okay, not bad. What was I saying? The fire spreads around corners, ignites flammable objects in the area that aren't being worn or carried. Firebolt, evocation cantrip. You hurl a mote of fire at a creature or object within range. Make a ranged spell attack against the target. On a hit, the target takes 1d10 fire damage. A flammable object hit by the spell ignites as if it wasn't being worn or carried. Fire shield. Thin and wispy flames wreathe your body for the duration, shedding a bright light in a 10-foot radius and dim light for an additional 10 feet. You can end the spell early by using an action to dismiss it. The flames provide you with a warm shield or a chill shield, as you choose. Why it should just be called elemental shield. The warm shield grants you resistance to cold damage, then a chill shield grants you resistance to fire damage. In addition, whenever a creature within 5 feet of you hits you with a melee attack, the shield interrupts the flame. The attacker takes 2d8 fire damage from a warm shield or 2d8 cold damage from a cold shield. Firestorm, 7th level evocation. A storm made up of sheets of roaring flame appear in a location you choose within range. The area of the storm consists up to 10 10-foot cubes, which you can arrange as you wish. Each cube can have at least one face adjacent to the face of the other cube. Each creature in the area must make a dexterity saving throw. It takes 7d10 fire damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. The fire damages in the areas and ignites flammable objects that are being worn or carried. If you choose, plant life in the area is unaffected by the spell. Flame blade. You evoke a fiery blade in your free hand. The blade is similar in size and shape as a scimitar, but it lasts for the duration. If you let go of the blade, it disappears. But you can evoke the blade again as a bonus action. You can use your action to make a melee spell attack with the fiery blade. On a hit, the target takes 3d6 fire damage. The flaming blade sheds bright light in a 10-foot radius and dim light for an additional 10 feet. Flame Strike, 5th level evocation. A vertical column of divine fire roars down from the heavens in a location you specify. Each creature in a 10-foot radius, 40-foot high cylinder centered on a point within range must make a dexterity saving throw. A creature takes 4d6 fire damage and 4d6 radiant damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. Flaming Sphere, 2nd level conjuration. A 5-foot diameter of fire appears in an unoccupied space of a choice within range and lasts for the duration. Any creature that ends its turn within 5 feet of the sphere must make a dexterity saving throw. The creature has 2d6 fire damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. As a bonus action, you can move the sphere up to 30 feet. If you ram the sphere into a creature, that creature must make a saving throw against the sphere's damage, and the sphere stops moving this turn. When you move the sphere, you can direct it up to over barriers and up to 5 feet tall and jump it across pits up to 10 feet wide. The sphere ignites flammable objects not being worn or carried, and it sheds bright light in a 20-foot radius and dim light for an additional 20 feet. Flesh to stone. You attempt to turn one creature that you can see within range into stone. If the target's body is made from flesh, the creature must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, it is restrained, and its flesh begins to harden. On a successful save, the creature isn't affected. The creature restrained by the spell must make another Constitution saving throw at the end of each of its turns. It successfully saves against the spell 3 times. The spell ends. If it fails to save 3 more times, it is turned to stone and subjected to the petrified condition for the duration. The successes and failures don't need to be consecutive. Keep track of both until the target's collected 3 of a kind. If the creature is physically broken while petrified, it suffers from similar deformities when it reverts to its original state. If you maintain your concentration on the spell for the entire possible duration, the creature is turned to stone until the effect is removed. Fly, 3rd level transmutation. You touch a willing creature. The target gains a flying speed of 60 feet for the duration. When the spell ends, the target falls as if it was still aloft, unless it can stop the fall. Fog Cloud, 1st level conjuration. You create a 20-foot radius sphere of fog centered on a point within range. The sphere spreads around corners, and the area is heavily obscured. It lasts for the duration or until a wind of moderate or greater speed or at least 10 miles per hour disperses it. Forbiddance. 6th level abjuration ritual. You can create a ward against magical travel that protects up to 40,000 square feet of floor space to a height of 30 feet above the floor. In addition, the spell damages types of creatures that you can choose when you cast it. Choose one or more of the following celestial elementals, fae, fiends, and undead. When a chosen creature enters the spell's area for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there, The creature takes 5d10 radiant or necrotic damage. When you cast a spell, you can designate a password. A creature speaks the password as it enters the area and takes no damage from the spell. The spell's area can't overlap with the area of another forbidden spell. If you cast forbidden every day for 30 days in the same location, the spell lasts until it is dispelled, and the material components are consumed on the last casting. Force Cage, 7th level evocation. An immobile, invisible, cube-shaped prison composed of magical force springs into existence around an area you choose within range. The prison can be a cage or a solid box as you choose. A prison in the shape of a cage can be up to 20 feet on a side and is made from half an inch diameter bars spaced 1/2 an inch apart. A prison in the shape of a box can be up to 10 feet on a side, creating a solid barrier that prevents any matter from passing through it and blocking any spells cast into or from the area. When you cast a spell, any creature that is completely inside the cage's area is trapped. Creatures only partially within the area or those too large to fit inside the area are pushed away from the center of the area until they are completely outside the area. A creature inside the cage can't leave it by non-magical means. If the creature tries to use teleportation or interplanar travel to leave the cage, it must first make charisma saving throw. On success, the creature can use the magic exit to exit the cage. On a failure, the creature can't exit the cage and wastes the use of a spell or effect. The cage also extends to the ethereal plane, blocking ethereal travel. The spell can't be dispelled by Dispel Magic. Foresight, 9th level Divination. You touch a willing creature but bestow a limited ability to see into the immediate future. For the duration, the target can't be surprised and has advantage on attacking rolls, ability checks, and saving throws. Additionally, other creatures have a disadvantage on attacking rolls against target for the duration. The spell immediately ends if you cast it again before the duration ends. Freedom of movement, 4th level abjuration. You touch a willing creature for the duration. The target's movement is unaffected by difficult terrain, and spells and other magical effects can either reduce or the target's speed nor cause the target to become paralyzed or restrained. The target can also spend 5 feet of movement to automatically escape from non-magical strains such as manacles, or the creature that has it grappled finally being underwater imposes no penalties on the creature's movement or attacks. That's awesome. Friends, enchantment cantrip. For the duration, you have advantage on all charisma checks directed at one creature of your choice that isn't hostile towards you. When the spell ends, the creature realizes that you have used magic to influence its mood and becomes hostile toward you. A creature prone to violence might attack you. Another creature might seek retribution in other ways at the DM's discretion, depending on the nature of which you interact with it. Gaseous form. 3rd level Transmutation. You transform a willing creature you touch along with everything it's wearing and carrying into a misty cloud at the duration. The spell ends if the creature drops to 0 hit points. An incorporeal creature isn't affected while in this form. The target's only method of movement is a flying speed of 10 feet. The target can enter and occupy the space of another creature. The target has resistance to non-magical damage and has advantage strength, dexterity, and constitution saving throws. The target can pass through small holes, narrow openings, and even mere cracks, though it treats its liquids as though they were solid surfaces. The target can't fall and remains hovering in the air when stunned or otherwise incapacitated while in this form of a misty cloud. The target can't talk or manipulate objects, and any objects it was carrying or holding can't be dropped, used, or otherwise interacted with. The target can't attack or cast spells. Gate, 9th level Conjuration. You conjure a portal linking to an unoccupied space you can see within range to a precise location on a different plane of existence. The portal is a circular opening, which you can make 5 to 20 feet in diameter. You can orient the portal into any direction you choose. The portal lasts for the duration. The portal has front and back on each plane where it appears. The travel through the portal is possible only by moving through its front. Anything that it does so instantly transported to the other side, appearing the unoccupied space nearest to the portal. Deities and other planar rulers can prevent portals created by this spell by opening in their presence or anywhere within the domains. You can cast this spell. You can speak the name of a specified creature, a pseudonym, title, or nickname. A pseudonym, title, or nickname doesn't work. If that creature is on a plane other than the one you are on, the portal opens in the named creature's immediate vicinity and draws the creature through it to the nearest unoccupied space on your side of the portal. You gain no special power over the creature, and it is free to act as the DM deems appropriate. It might leave, attack you, or help you. Yes. Gius, 5th level enchantment. You place a magical command on a creature that you can see within range, forcing it to carry out some service or refrain from some action or course of activity as you decide. If the creature can understand you, it must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or become charmed by you for the duration. While the creature is charmed by you, it takes 5d10 psychic damage each time it acts in a manner directly counter to your instructions, but no more than once per day. A creature that can't understand you is unaffected by the spell. You can issue any command you choose, so short of an activity that result in certain deaths. Should you issue a suicidal command, the spell ends. You can end the spell early by using an action to dismiss it. A remove, curse, greater restoration, or wish spell also ends it. Gentle repose, set in 2nd level necromancy. Ritual. You touch a corpse or other remains. For the duration, the target is protected from decay and can't become undead. The spell also effectively extends the time limit on raising the target from the dead, since days spent under the influence of the spell don't count against the time limits of spells such as Raise Dead. Giant Insect. 4th level transmutation. You transform up to 10 centipedes, 3 spiders, 5 wasps, or 1 scorpion within range into giant versions of their natural forms for the duration. What the fuck? A centipede becomes a giant centipede. A spider becomes a giant spider. Wasp becomes a giant wasp. Scorpion becomes a giant scorpion. Each creature obeys your verbal commands, and in combat they act on each on your own round. The DM has statistics for these creatures and resolves their actions and movements. The creatures remains in its giant size for the duration until it drops to your hit points or until you use your action to dismiss the effect on it. Your DM might choose different targets. For example, if you transform a bee, it a bee. Its giant version might have the same statistics as giant wasp. Glibness, 8th level transmutation. Until the spell ends, when you make a charisma check, you can replace a number of a roll with the 15 until no matter what you say, magic that would determine if you are telling the truth indicates that you are being truthful. Globe Invulnerability, 6th level abjuration. An immobile, faintly shimmering barrier springs into existence in a 10-foot radius around you and remains for the duration. Any spell 5th level or lower cast from the outside the barrier can't affect creatures or objects within, even if the spell is cast using higher level spell slots, such as a spell that can target creatures and objects within the barrier, but the spell has no effect on them. Similarly, the area within the barrier is excluded from the effects affected by such spells. Glyph of Warding. 3rd level abjuration. When you cast a spell, you inscribe a glyph that harms other creatures either upon its surface, such as a table or a section of the floor or wall, or within an object that can be closed, such as a book, a scroll, or a treasure chest, to conceal the glyph. If you choose a surface, the glyph can cover an area of the surface no larger than 10 feet in diameter. If you choose the object must remain in its place. The object is moved more than 10 feet away. When you cast a spell, the glyph is broken and the spell ends without being triggered. The glyph is nearly invisible and requires a successful intelligence investigation check against your spell save DC to be found. You decide what triggers the glyph when you cast a spell. For glyphs inscribed on a surface, the most typical triggers include touching or standing on a glyph, removing another object covered by the glyph, approaching with a certain distance of the glyph, or manipulated by the object which the glyph is inscribed. For glyphs inscribed with an object, the most common triggers include opening that object, approaching with a certain distance of the object, or seeing or reading the glyph. Once a glyph is triggered, the spell ends. You can make it have explosive runes, spell glyphs, and you can do stuff at higher levels. Good berry, 1st level transmutation. Up to 10 berries appear in your hand and you are infused with magic for the duration. A creature that can use its action to eat 1 berry. Eating a berry restores 1 hit point, and the berry provides enough nourishment to sustain a creature for 1 day. The berries lose their potency if they have not been consumed within 24 hours of casting the spell. Grasping Vine, 4th level Conjuration. You conjure a vine that sprouts from the ground in an unoccupied space at your choice that you can see within range. When you cast a spell, you can direct the vine to lash out at a creature within 30 feet of you that you can see. When the creature must succeed a dexterity saving throw, will be pulled 20 feet directly towards the vine. Until the spell ends, you can direct the vine to lash out at the same creatures or at another one as a bonus action to each of your turns. Does this look like half? Maybe not. Grease, first level Conjuration. Slick grease covers the ground in a 10-foot square centered on a point within range that turns into difficult terrain for the duration. When John Travolta appears, each creature standing in its area must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or fall prone. A creature that enters the area or ends its turn there must also succeed on a dexterity saving throw or fall prone. Greater invisibility, 4th level illusion. You or a creature you touch becomes visible until the spell ends. Anything the target is wearing or carrying is visible as long as it's on the target's person. Greater Restoration, 5th level Abjuration. You imbue a creature you touch with positive energy to undo a debilitating effect. You can reduce the target's exhaustion level by 1 or end one of the following effects on the target. 1 effect that charmed or petrified the target. 1 curse, including the target's attunement to a cursed magic item. Any reduction to one of the target's ability scores. 1 effect reducing the target's hit point maximum. Guardian of Faith, 4th level Conjuration. A large spectral guardian appears and hovers for the duration of an unoccupied space of your choice that you can see within range. The guardian occupies the space and is indistinct except for the gleaming sword and shield emblazoned with the symbol of your deity. Any creature hostile that moves in a space within 10 feet towards the guardian for first time on each turn within dexterity saving throw or half as much. What? The creature takes 20 radiant damage on a failed save or half as much on a successful save. The guardian vanishes when it is dealt a total of 60 damage. Guards and wards. You create a ward that protects up to 2,500 square feet of floor space. The warded area can be up to 20 feet tall, shaped by you as you desire, and it can, when you cast a spell, it specify individuals that are unaffected by all of the effects that you choose. You can also specify a password that, when spoken aloud, makes the speaker immune to these effects. The guards and wards create the following effects within the warded area: corridors, doors, stairs, other spell effects. Guidance, Divination cantrip. You touch one willing creature. Before the spell ends, the target can roll a d4 and add that number rolled to one ability of its choice. It can roll the die before or after making the ability check. Then the spell ends. Guiding Bolt, 1st level evocation. A flash of light streaks towards one creature of your choice within range. Make a spell attack against the target. On a hit, the target takes 46 radiant damage, and the next attack roll made against the target before the end of your next turn has advantage thanks to the mystical dim light glittering on the target. Until then, Gust of Wind, 2nd level evocation. A line of strong wind 60 feet long and 10 feet wide blast from you in a direction you choose for the spell's duration. Each duration that starts its turn in the line must succeed in a strength saving throw or be pushed 15 feet away from you in a direction following the line. Any creature in the line must spend 2 feet of movement for every 1 foot it moves when moving closer to you. The gust disperses gas or vapors, and it extinguishes candles, torches, and similar unprotected flames in the area. It causes protected flames, such as those lanterns, to dance wildly and has a 50% chance of extinguishing them. As a bonus action on each of your turns before the spell ends, you can change the duration of the line blast to you. Hail of Thorns, 1st level Conjuration. The next time you hit a creature with a ranged weapon attack before the spell ends, the creature creates a rain of thorns that sprouts from a ranged weapon or ammunition. In addition to the normal effect of an attack, the target of the attack and each creature within 5 feet of it must make a dexterity saving throw. A creature, it takes 1d10 piercing damage on a failed save or half as much damage on a successful one. Hollow, 5th level evocation. You touch a point and infuse the area around it with holy or unholy power. The area has a radius up to 60 feet, and the spell fills if the radius includes an area already affected by the hollow spell. The affected area is subjected to the following spells. First, Celestials, Elementals, Fae, Fiends, and Undead can't enter the area, nor can such creatures charm, frighten, or possess creatures within it. Any creature charmed or frightened or possessed by such a creature is no longer charmed, frightened, or possessed upon entering the area. You can exclude one or more of these types of creatures from the effect. Courage, Darkness, Daylight, Energy Protection, Energy Vulnerability, Everlasting Rest, Extra-Dimensional Interference, Fear, Silence, Tongues. Hallucinatory terrain. 4th level illusion. You make natural terrain in a 150-foot cube in a range look, sound, and smell like one of the sort of natural terrain. Thus, open fields on a road can be made to resemble a swamp, hill, crevasse, or some other difficult or impassable terrain. A pond can be made to seem like a grassy meadow, or precipice like a gentle slope, or a rock-strewn gully like a wide and smooth road. Manufactured structures, equipment, and creatures within the area aren't changed in appearance. The tactical characteristics of the terrain are unchanged, so creatures entering the area are likely to see through the illusion. If the difference isn't obvious by touch, a creature carefully examining the illusion can attempt an intelligence investigation check against your spell save DC to disbelieve it. A creature who discerns the illusion for what it is sees as a vague image superimposed on the terrain. Harm, 6th level Necromancy. You unleash a virulent disease on a creature that you can see within range. The target must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, it takes 14d6 necrotic damage or half as much damage on a successful save. The damage can't reduce the target's hit points below 1. If the target fails the saving throw, its hit point maximum is reduced for 1 hour by an amount equal to necrotic damage it took. Any effect amount to the necrotic damage removes a disease, allows a creature's hit points to maximum to return to normal before time passes. Look at all these spells. Look at all these. Someone wrote in this one. Look at all these. Haste! Choose a willing creature that you can see within range. Until the spell ends, the target speed is doubled. It gains a +2 bonus to AC and has advantage on dexterity saving throws, and it gains an additional action on each of its turns. That action can only be used to take the attack. One weapon attack only. Dash, disengage, hide, or use an object action. Haste. Haste, you say. Do you know what we should haste? We should haste this. That's what we should haste. Haste, heal, healing word, heat metal, hellish rebuke, hero's feast, heroism, hex, hold monster, hold person, holy aura, hunger of Heydar, hunter's mark, hypnotic pattern, ice storm, identify, illusory script, imprisonment, incendiary cloud, inflict wounds, insect plague, invisibility, jump, knock, legend lore, Leomund's secret chest, Leomund's tiny hut, lesser restoration, levitate, light, lightning arrow, lightning bolt. Leomund's tiny hut, 3rd level evocation. A 10-foot radius immobile dome of force springs into existence around you and above you and remains stationary for the duration. The spell ends if you leave its area. 9 creatures of medium size or smaller can fit inside the dome with you. The spell fails if its area includes a larger creature, more than 9 creatures. Creatures and objects within the dome, when you cast the spell, can move through freely. All other creatures and objects are barred from passing through it. Spells and other magical effects can't extend through the dome or be cast through it. The atmosphere inside the space is comfortable and dry regardless of the weather outside. Until the spell ends, you can command the interior to become dimly lit or dark. The dome is opaque from the outside or any other color you choose, but is translucent from the outside. Lesser restoration, levitate, light, lightning arrow, lightning bolt. Locate animals or plants. Locate creature. Locate object. Longstrider. Mage armor. Mage hand. Mage circle. Magic jar. Magic missile. Magic mouth. Magic weapon. Why do you name your spells magic if they're already magic? Major image. Mass cure wounds. Mass heal. Mass healing word. Mass suggestion. Maze. Meld into stone. Melf's acid arrow. Mending. Message. Meteor swarm. Mind blank. Minor illusion. Mirage arcane. Mirage Arcane! You make terrain in an area up to 1 mile square. What? This is the terrain's general shape remains the same, however, open fields are. What? It's hallucinatory terrain. A pond can be seen like a fucking grassy meadow. That's goddamn. Mirror image, mislead, misty step, modify memory, moonbeam, Mordenkainen's faithful hounds. Mordenkainen's magnificent mansion. Mordenkainen's private sanctum. Mordenkainen's sword. Mordenkainen can go fuck himself. Move earth. Non-detection. Nystul's magic aura. Otiluk's freezing sphere. Otiluk's resilient sphere. Why does Otiluk like balls? Otto's irresistible dance. Pass without a trace. Pass wall. Phantasmal force. Phantasmal killer. Phantom Steed, Planar Ally, Planar Binding, Plane Shift, Plant Growth, Polymorph, Power Word Heal, Power Word Kill, Power Word Stun, Prayer of Healing, Prestidigitation, Prismatic Ray, Spray, Prismatic Wall, Produce Flame, Flame, Programmed Illusion, Project Image, Protection from Energy, Protection from Evil and Good, Protection from Poison, Purified Food and Water, Raise Dead, Rarest Telepathic Bond, Ray of Enfeeblement, Ray of Frost, Ray of Sickness, Regenerate... I almost called it Ray of Generate. Reincarnate! Remove curse, resistance, resurrection, reverse gravity, revivify, rope trick, sacred flame, sanctuary, scorching ray, scrying, searing smite, see invisibility, seeming, sending, sequester. By means of this spell, a willing creature or object can be hidden away, safe from the detection of the duration. When you cast the spell and touch the target, it becomes invisible and can't be targeted by the divination spells or perceived through scrying sensors created by the divination spells. If the target is a creature, it falls into a state of suspended animation, sees its time to flow forward, it doesn't grow older. Oh, that's pretty cool, I guess. Shape change! Oh my god! There's already 2 other shape change spells. Shatter, shield, shield of faith, shillelagh. Is it shillalag or shillelagh? Shillelagh! Shocking grasp, silence. Silent image, simulacrum, sleep, sleep storm, slow, spare the dying. Spare the dying. Speak with animals, speak with dead, speak with plants, spider climb, spike growth, spirit guardian, spiritual weapon, staggering smite, stinking cloud, stone shape, stone skin, storm of vengeance, suggestion, sunbeam, sunburst, swift quiver, symbol, Tasha's hideous laughter, telekinesis, telepathy, teleport, teleportation circle, tensor's floating disc, thaumaturgy, thorn whip, thunder smite, thunder wave, time stop, tongues, transport via plants, tree stride, true polymorph. Why are there so many? True resurrection, true seeing, true strike, tsunami, tsunami. Unseen servant, vampiric touch, vicious mockery, wall of fire, wall of force, wall of ice, wall of stone, wall of thorns. So many fucking walls. Warding bond, water breathing, water walk, web, weird. Weird? 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 Weird. Weird. Wind walk, wind wall, wish! Wish! Witch bolt, word of recall. Word of recall, I don't even know that one. Wrathful smite, zone of truth! Fuck this! How to play wizard. So, you're gonna play wizard. Then take a look from all the scrolls that you took and mash them up into your book. You're seen as a library worker with nothing further, and fuck the sorcerer. They learn their spells on a whim with no comprehension, just a floppy brim. You've mastered the arcane hymn, every punctuation and synonym. Paper and ink cost 50 gold to write your wall of what the fuck? Only ones are being rolled, so cast Learman's tiny hurt. You cast spells in intelligent ways. You conjure fireballs in a blaze. You've got a magic missile for days. And in wizard school you got straight A's. You've got no use for rage. No patron holds you in a cage. You've studied every page to be the most awesome, coolest, greatest, most epic, buys everybody a beer, I don't know anything else, mage. Wizards are notoriously one of the nerdiest classes to play in D&D, as if you needed a reason to get even more introverted and book-centric than you already were by playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Actually, that spell requires concentration.
Come on, dude.
So, like, you can't actually cast that.
Of course the wizard says that.
Okay, fine. I'll just roll my dice then.
Wow, Jacob, that was a nice roll on that nice die.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. It's because it was really easy to roll.
Easy to roll.
That's because it was an easy roller dice. Easy roller dice. Use the coupon code XP23 to get 15% off your next purchase. Help support the channel with some easy roller dice.
This is an ad though?
We have to pay rent!
Yeah, what do you think?
We can't afford anything else!
What are we going to do?
Just keep eating chicken nuggets!
At level 1, you get Spellcasting and Arcane Recovery. Spellcasting, the bread and butter to Wizard. Quite literally, if you're going to play Wizard and don't know how spells work, then it's a bit silly to play a Wizard. But I'll explain it the best I can, mostly because spellcasting for Wizards is the dopest shit ever, but also the most confusing for new players. First off, you've got cantrips. Cantrips are freebie spells that aren't super powerful, but you can always cast them whenever you want. They don't cost anything, they don't use anything, and you can just cast them as much as you want. All other spells, aka leveled spells, are limited in your spell slot usage detailed in your class thingy. At level 1, you get 2 spell slots, meaning you can cast 2 times per long rest.
Ha-ha! Ha-ha! Dang it!
But, how do I know spells, Jacob? Don't worry, Harry Potter, it's not that hard. You get a spell book. Your spell book is where you write down all your spells to study and practice and all that jazz. At level 1, you get 6 spells that you know already, written into your spell book. Yay! They can only be level 1 though. Every time you level up, you can get 2 new spells into your spell book, so long as you can cast the slot associated with the spell. So you can't get 2 new level 9 spells if you can't cast level 9 spells. You can only put in 2 level spells that you can already cast.
Well, golly gee, that sure isn't very many spells at all. Can I have some more?
No, man. No, that's it. That's all you're gonna get. 2 spell slots, 2 spells. You don't get any more than that. You think it's fun? That's it. That's all you get. Sure. What the crap? If you ever find a spell scroll, spell book, or anything with a spell's instructions written on it, you can copy that shit into your spell book. Whoa, sport, not so fast. You can't just use a regular old number 2 lead pencil and some shitty scratch paper.
Well, why not?
Because we're going to make it hard for you. Copying a spell into your book costs 50 gold pieces worth of ink and paper per spell slot. Nyaha! Capitalism wins again! Don't worry though, you little level 2 wizard. Just go kill a lich or something and take all his evil spells and money and you're all set. Arcane Recovery. You can recover some spell slots on a short rest. Are you f***ing kidding me? Second level, Arcane Tradition. This is essentially the wizard subclass. You pick a school to be good at. We're going to use a tomato to best describe each school and how they work. Abjuration. Shield the tomato.
Give me the tomato!
Abjuration!
Okay, fine, I'll leave. It's fine. We don't
tomato
need,
was shielded.
We don't need spaghetti.
It has a shield.
We'll make it another way.
It has a lot of hit points. Conjuration. Teleport the tomato. Whoa! Where'd it go?
Why is there a tomato on my head?
Divination. See the future of the tomato. Oh God! Enchantment. Charm someone to buy your tomato. Hey, you want this teleporting tomato?
No.
Charm person!
I'll give you all of these dice.
Okay. Evocation. Catch the tomato on fire and explode it. Illusion. Make it look like you didn't explode the tomato. Necromancy. Bring the tomato back to life.
Live!
Transmutation. Just make it a lemon.
Transmutation? Now that's better.
Level 18. What? What? No abilities? Are you kidding me? This is the worst thing ever. I can't believe wizards would do this. It's not like there's something you're getting each level along with cool abilities from your arcane tradition, and it's not like the class is balanced and you still get neat stuff every time you level. Why would anyone ever do this? Okay, excuse my passive-aggressiveness. Honestly, wizards are pretty easy to play so long as you manage your spells and other stuff. Levels give you new spells and abilities with your magic, and your arcane tradition gives you neat little ways to cast those spells. So, why not go through some of those spells, huh? There can't be that many of them.
No! 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 So, yeah, it's actually really hot today. I didn't realize that it was...
Oh man, I'm hungry. Babies sound delicious. Yeah, I want to eat some babies. Maybe a little baby foot.
What? Why? I didn't know! I didn't know! I didn't know!
I can see it.
It's a bird?
It's a rock. It's a dragon. It's an airship.
It's just Logan.
Aww.
Wee! Wee!
I can't see him.
Where is Moose? Where? Oh. There he is.
Oh, nasty. What the crap? I'm free! Oh, I'm dead. That's nasty. Ooh!
I wish I had friends.
We're okay. We're here
I'm
for
actually
you.
gonna kill
We're
you. No!
friends.
I can see him.
Bow down before the burger king!
The list goes on. Level 18, Spell Mastery. You gain the ability to cast a level 1 spell and a level 2 spell at will. You don't even have to use a spell slot. That's actually really cool, honestly. That's a great job, wizards. I really like this. Level 20, Signature Spell. Oh god, it's the level 20. I actually have to be really... Level 20, Signature Spell. At level 20, you gain the greatest ability known to many wizards. The legendary power, the one true achievement for not cross-classing and playing a campaign up to this point and gaining this much power. You can cast 2 third-level spells without using a spell slot. This is why wizards are overpowered. Wait, what the fuck? This actually sucks. What if you gain the ability to cast any spell at 9th level? What about getting to make your own spell? What if you're able to gain like 10 more spells into your book? What if you gain a new super powerful ability linked to your school? What about a new spell book? Why?
Why is the rogue so powerful? Ah!
And now it's time for some patron shoutouts. Asher Gouger, Flop Mind, thank you for the mic. JD10600S, Joseph Herbert, Raging Cajun Burn, Mad Harrier, Tristan Balzer, Turtlebot, Wind Shadow 64, Zazie, 7011. Thank you guys! You're freaking awesome. I don't have any rhymes. That's it. We're done.